This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel Game of the Week.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1978-81 World Series Game 6, Angels at Dodgers, Dodger Stadium. Back and forth affair with the Angels having the upper hand that they began it with. Winners of games 1, 3, and 5. Dodgers got a hoot and shutout in game 2 and came back in game 4 down 4 runs to make it respectable 3-2. Angels just playing a lot better baseball than the Dodgers. Would like to finish off the Dodgers in 6. But it's going to be a pretty weird Game 6 when you look at the starting pitchers for each club. For the Angels, they're going to send Ross Baumgarten, a guy who pitched for the White Sox, teammate of Bob Molinaro, who's actually on the bench for some reason today. Baumgarten was 2-12 with a 3.44 ERA and 80 for the White Sox. And the Dodgers are going to send their weak link lefty starter Jim Umbarger, 5-8, 4.87 ERA with a Rangers in 78-98 innings. Both these guys are going to be on a pitch count, no pun intended. They're not going to go long. Let's kind of just take a quick peek before we start the game at the stats for these guys. For the Angels, here's year-to-date numbers. Here's Baumgarten. He's been respectable. 1-4, 45 innings, 3.80 ERA, 1.64 WHIP. 48 hits, 26 walks, 27 strikeouts. Nothing spectacular, but nothing spectacularly bad either. Well, on the other side of the coin, the Dodgers, Jim Umbarger. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, Umbarger is 2-5, which is good. In 36 1/3 innings, he's given up 69 hits, 43 runs, only 34 earned. That's 9 unearned runs they're not accounted for. So he's got an 8.42 ERA, which would be in 4 digits if these runs were earned. 2.28 WHIP, even though he hasn't walked or struck out a lot of batters. It's the hits, my God. So Umbarger's going to have to pitch the game of his life today. Rick Sutcliffe is available to come out of the pen on 3 days rest to bail him out. And that might be the move in, say, the 3rd or 4th inning if things start to go haywire, which I predict they will. Let's get started. Game 6, Angels on the road. They want to win the World Series in their home state, not in their home field. Leading off, and against the first lefty they have faced in the World Series is Fred Patek. Haven't seen his name yet at the top of the lineup till now. Fred Patek, 1-4. Let's take a look at Fred Patek. Welcome to the World Series, Fred. You've been a late inning replacement and a defensive guy and a pinch runner, but now you get to bat. And 1-4 on your own card is a clean double to center field for a guy who is 248 for a Kansas City team that went to the playoffs in '78. And the Royals transferred over to UL Washington to be shortstop. And the Angels said, hey, Freddie, come to California. We could use you. All that, we got a runner at second. Nobody out. Carney Lansford. 46 off Umbarger is a single to center field. Patek, 17. He's got a run against the -1 of Gibson, and he scores on a 16. Well, that was close. Patek, a 17 runner. Gibson -1 arm. Nobody out. So he's running at a 16 or better, and he actually gets the 16. It's closer than it needed to be. And just like that, we can actually say the California Angels are 27 outs away from winning the World Series. 1-0. Lansford will be held at first. He won't go anywhere. Ron Jackson. 1-4, flies to center. Brian Downing moves into the 4 hole against lefties. 63. First X. This is Garvey, a 1E7. And Garvey, you gotta be kidding me! This is a double play. Unless there's some nightmare going on with the Dodgers. And there it is. It's an error on Garvey in a Game 6 with Jim Umbarger on the mound, as if it's not a nightmare enough. Oh my goodness. Now you got 2 on with 1 out. Dodgers should be batting, and they're not. And Don Baylor, who has homered in the first inning of several postseason games already, at least 2, looking for his 3rd, maybe 4th, first inning home run on 1-5 or 1-6. Here's the pitch to Don Baylor. 4-6. Let's just get the hit off Umbarger. To center field, Lansford. He also has to run. It's only a 15 now, not a 16. And here's the throw to the plate. An 18, and Gibson cuts him down. So there's your home field advantage. If it's 14 or better, you have to run on the road. Sort of like the third base coach can't make up his mind. And Lansford gets gunned down at the plate. Brian Downing will hold at second. So we do get a second out. We have first and second with 2 outs. And Bobby Grich is the batter. Batting 6th against lefties. And 2-12 in a wild first inning. Let's look at the Bobby Grich card, folks. His brilliant 1979 card we showed many times could be the series MVP, but 2-12, Bobby Grich is hurt. He flies to left, running down the first base. He pulls up with a hamstring injury of some type. He'll be out of the game. And this first inning that looks so promising for the Angels, they only got 1 run out of it. Yeah, Lancer was at first, nobody out. Then Jackson got out, first and second. Guy gets thrown out the plate, and then that happens. And now you need a second baseman, and it's going to have to be Tim Johnson. Tim Johnson's he's a 4-20 at short, not too bad. He'll take over for Grich. Patek will play the whole game at short. That'll be that. But Dodgers, counting their blessings, it's just 1 zip. And leading off is Davey Lopes. 38, grounds to short. Reggie Smith, 36. 36? Take a look at Reggie Smith's card, folks. One of his 29 homers in 1978. With a .295 batting average, 70 walks, still can throw and make errors in the outfield. But 3-6, a solo homer. We got a tie game. Here's Garvey. Survived that error on the top of the frame we thought was disaster. Lies to left. And Ronse with 2 outs, grounds to second. So we settle down and we got a tie game. After all the crazy bounces and so forth, it's tied at 1 going into the second. Remember, both pitchers are going to be on a short pitch count. So Bill Sample, 1-9, triple 1-3 double. That's a double. Oh boy. Dan Ford, 37, single 1-7. He gets a line out. Umbarger gets a break. Pokaroba doesn't have a hit on his card. Let's take a look at it. He's actually had a pretty nice series. He's hit a home run on 3-6, a single dot on 2-8. Against lefties, he's in there because all those walks will get him on base for Fred Patek to get a fielder's choice, in theory, and get Pokaroba off the bases and Patek on them. But here he will bat with a runner at second and 1 out. Pitch to Biff Pokaroba. 2-5, yes sir, it's one of the walks. First and second, Umbarger's not doing anybody any favors here. This is 5 base runners plus an error. 6 base runners out of the first 9 for a guy with an 8.42 ERA. Here's Fred Patek. 32. This is a GBA. Yes, sir, it is. 5-4-3 double play with runners at first and second. Angels should be kicking themselves. They should be owning this Umbarger guy. They've been threatening seriously and only have a run. Bottom of 2, Kirk Gibson. 1-4 is a K. Dusty Baker, 2-8, flies to center. And Bill Russell, 4-12, flies to left. And Baumgarten pitches the best inning yet of the game. Top of the 3rd, Carney Lansford. 1-9 is a single. B. Steeler, he'll stay at first. For Ron Jackson. 1-2, uh-oh. Let's take a look at the Ron Jackson card, folks. If you thought the Angels were jinxed, and some people seem to think they were, bad luck or something, we lost Bobby Grich in the first inning, and now Ron Jackson, who crushes lefties, just rolls 1-2. He'll have to leave the game, and Bob Molinaro, who does not have a hit on his card against a left-handed pitcher, will have to come into the game. And suddenly, things are looking pretty good for Mr. Umbarger here, as the Angels are decimating themselves with injuries. 1 out, man at first, Brian Downing. 46 off Umbarger is a single to center field. Lansford should think about going coast to coast here. on a 15, he'll do it because they want to get some runs, and he does. 104. So you have runners on the corners. They're going to play back for Don Baylor. 38 is short B. So they get a fielder's choice. They cannot turn the double play on 3-8, which means Lansford scores from third. Taking the extra base on the arm worked out perfectly there. And Baylor is now on first with a fielder's choice, so he's going to attempt to steal. He rolls a 16. Trevino is a zero-arm catcher, but Baylor's just an A-stealer, 15 being held, so he's thrown out. So, Angels try to make some moves there with their legs to make up for the injuries they've had. Take advantage of Umbarger. They do get the one run. They've actually put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 men on, and have only scored twice and gotten 2 guys hurt. And this is going to be one of the more memorable World Series games, and I got a lot of frames left here. Bottom of the third, 2-1. Willie Horton. 68. This is double 1-8, base hit. Alex Trevino. 67, single to center field. Horton, of course, holds it second. It's Davey Lopes. 6-12, pitcher B. Runners on the corners with speed with 1 out and Reggie Smith. He's being held, +1 arm. Reggie Smith doesn't hit into a lot of double plays. I don't want to run out of this inning down a run down in the series, so Lopes will stay put at first. He's so tempted to steal, but he'll stay at first with runners on the corners, playing back, hoping for a double play, but holding Lopes. And here's the pitch to Reggie Smith, who homered earlier. 58 off Baumgarten is short X, and it's Patek. A 2E40 could work out perfectly for the Angels. And it does! A 6-4-3 double play on Fred Patek's defense. So, just when they needed a great defensive play, they get it. That was huge. Talked about great shortstop defense and winning a World Series earlier in this World Series broadcast. The Mark Belangers and the Bud Harrelsons and so forth. And yeah, you need that sort of thing. And Patek helped out there with a great play. Top of the fourth, 2-1 Angels. And it's Tim Johnson is the batter. 2-9, rolls the third. Sample. 63 for Sample. His first X, this is Garvey. A 1, makes the play. And with 2 outs, it's Dan Ford. 3-12 is hit by the pitch. Almost had a 3 up and 3 down inning. And it's Pocoroba. 53, pitcher B. So a nice inning there for Umbarger. And now, he's done pretty well. All things considered. It's just a 2-1 game. Got to watch him closely in the 5th. Sutcliffe's already started to warm up. Bottom of the 4th inning. Can you give your lefty starter a lead? It's Steve Garvey. 1-5. No, you cannot. 1-5. It is automatic. Steve Garvey, another home run. Boy, these teams are clubbing home runs in this World Series. I haven't counted them up yet. I don't know what the record would be anyway, but boy, if you've been watching this, you've seen 2 and 3 homers per team each game. Reggie Smith, Garvey, Say, Lopes has hit them. You know, of course, Gritch, Baylor, Dowling, and who else over here? Oh, Pocoroba even has one. Jeez. 2-2. And both pitchers get a reset. Ron Say. Not for long. 1-7. Ron Say. They seem to know how to go back-to-back. And they've gone back-to-back-to-back before. Ron Say, 1-7. Look at his card again. His brilliant 1979 card, 281 with 28 home runs. That is gone. Dodgers take a 3-2 lead. And they're going to try and go for 3 straight homers for the second time in this series. They did it off of Frank Tanana. They're going to try and do it off of Baumgarten. The pitch to Kirk Gibson. 2-7 is a strikeout. Good comeback for Baumgarten. Dusty Baker. 4-10. Just missed it by 1. Off the Baumgarten card. Homer. 1-11. Double. He rolls a 9 and gets the homer off the Baumgarten card. All solo homers for the Dodgers. 4 of them. They lead 4-2. Wow, what a weird, wild game. We said we were going to have a weird and wild one, and I'm not disappointed. This is kooky and crazy here. Bill Russell's the batter. 53, rolls to first. And with 2 outs, it's Willie Horton. 1-6 is a K. So, Baumgarten hasn't really put a lot of men on base. He's put a lot of balls over the fence, but not on base. So, he's going to continue. And Umbarger needs to get 3 outs to, dare we say, qualify for a win, which would be a huge boost to this Dodger team. Before that, we'll have Fred Patek leading off in the top. He's doubled, scored, and made a fantastic defensive double play in this game. The pitch to Fred Patek. 110 is a fly to left. Carney Lansford. 311 is a fly to center. And with 2 outs, it's Bob Molinaro. Got to show you the card because he's coming in for the injured Ron Jackson. And actually, Baylor's playing first base as a 40-25. Molinaro's in left, Samples in right is how they configured the defense. But Molinaro does not have a hit on this card, as you can see, against lefties, but has to play because of the injury. So the pitch to Bob Molinaro. 67, off of the Umbarger card. It's a gift. Single 1 to 11 if you want to exchange it. He takes the single. You give him a single, he'll take it. And down by 2, I don't think he'll try and steal. Downing's a tying run. They'll give Umbarger 1 chance to get the tie run out and qualify for a win here. The pitch to Brian Downing. 39 is a walk, and I don't think you want to do it against Baylor. No sirree, that's it. So no, the Umbarger should be ecstatic to get 4 2/3 out of him. Couldn't pitch couldn't pitch 5 innings. But he goes 4 2/3. He puts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 men on base. Can't collect a win. That's going to be in the hands of Rick Sutcliffe, who enters the game in the relief. He's a relief 3. We'll get you into the 8th inning, and then they'll turn it over to Forster, Castillo, and Hal, setting up Don Sutton for a Game 7, if and only if the Dodgers can hold on to this thing. So Sutcliffe comes on in the 5th, 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. Don Baylor saw the card earlier. The pitch to Don Baylor. 5-11, first C. So Sutcliffe gets the final out. My goodness, this is a roller coaster. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Okay. You know, it's funny, but at the top of that inning, with Don Baylor, I was expecting to look over at the first for that home run, but I realized they all happened in the previous 2 games. I'm so used to Don Baylor hitting a homer in the first inning, I was confused why there wasn't one there. He only singled in the first inning, so. Anyway, bottom of the 5th, Baumgarten. Now you just want to keep your team in the game. Again, he's not that horrible of a pitcher. He's a starter 6. Let's see what happens here. He'll pitch to Trevino. 1-7, he gets a K. Davey Lopes. 54, right B, and with 2 outs, Reggie Smith. 34 short. Baumgarten battles back and finally has a second 3 up and 3 down inning. It's 4-2 in the 6th. And Sutcliffe. The injury-riddled Angels will have Tim Johnson coming up. 37 is a K. By the way, the matchups late in the game will clearly favor the Dodgers, who have lefties and righties in the bullpen. They'll be able to match up against Molinaro and Tim Johnson at the appropriate time, with no relief helping, as John Harris is also a lefty on the bench with 247. So it's really bad to get injuries, particularly 2 in one game. But they'll be back tomorrow if there is a tomorrow. Here's Bill Sample with 1 out. 56 is a fly ball to left. And with 2 outs, it's Dan Ford. 5-10, center X. This is Gibson, a 3-E-10 in center. He makes the catch. Nice catch there for Gibson. Stays 4-2. Pretty well pitched game. Baumgarten's not going to pitch to say. With Garvey, it doesn't matter too much, as he's pretty much the same both sides. So we'll pitch to Garvey, who gets his homers regardless who's on the mound. The pitch to Garvey. 49 is a roller to second. And we're not going to take a chance. We're going to pull Baumgarten after 5 1/3. Did pretty good. The solo homers is it, really. But Ronce, you saw his card. He crushes homers against lefties, so it will be... They're going to go Dyer Miller in this one. He's better against righties, and the Dodgers have a lot of righties going today, as you can imagine. Dyer Miller will come on in the 6th with 1 out. Face Ronce. 69, skies are right. And with 2 outs, Kirk Gibson. 212, rolls to first. We go to the 7th. Now, Sutcliffe can break in this inning. It's his 3rd inning of relief. He's a relief 3. No, he's a relief 4. I misread that. He is a relief 4. He cannot break him in this inning. He has a 2-run lead. You're rolling the dice with an E16 Reggie Smith in the outfield, though he's got a -4 arm. Jim Norris is an E5 right fielder, but he's got a +1 arm. So they're going to go with the good arm, bad E rating. We'll see if that plays out strategically. As we go to the top of the 7th, Pocoroba now turned around batting from the left side against the righty Sutcliffe. 3-6! You saw the card earlier, and he hit it earlier in the series. Pocoroba, homer, 1 1/3, it's gone! And there's your unlikely World Series hero, folks. If you watched my World Series 2 years ago with Boston and Philadelphia, there was a switch-hitting catcher named John Tamargo, never played for the Red Sox, got stuck on their roster, and he had the game-winning hit in Game 7. And Pocoroba does something miraculous here in the top of the 7th, and we got a 4-3 game. Pocoroba with the Braves in 80, 265 and 83 at-bats, mostly as a pinch hitter. So Sutcliffe's first mistake. Now you got Fred Patek. 58, flies to center. Carney Lansford. 3-6 is single, 1-2, 15, gets it. Tie run. Trevino with the 0 arm will hold it first, and now you got Molinaro, and this is the move you want to make. He's an out. You want to pull Sutcliffe here. He's gone an inning and 2/3. We got a lot more relievers here. With 1 out, we've gone 6 1/3 innings. Yeah. And we want to get a lefty in here to face the lefty Molinaro and go all the way through the lefty Tim Johnson. And then we'll turn it back over to a righty. And that's because of the 2 injuries. So, Terry Forster, let's take a look at Terry. We'll come in the game now with a tie run at first. 5-4 with a 1.94 ERA in 65 innings. He's left-handed, and Molinaro has no hits on his card. So, Molinaro will have to do a trick, which is hit and run. He's a C hit and runner here. Let's announce Forster. Put him in the 7th inning here. BM for Bob Molinaro. Without a hit on his card, Molinaro will hit and run, as Lansford is a B stealer, so that'll raise Molinaro's hit and run prowess from C to B. So a 2, 3, or 5 will be a single. And a key moment here, here's the pitch to Bob Molinaro. We'll look right here for hit and run result. 7, which means you have to steal a base. With Lansford, who's a B stealer, he's going to be safe though. He rolled a 4. That's going to be safe for just about everybody. But now, you can't do the hit and run anymore. Or if you do, it's a real bad move there. And you're not a good bunter. And I hate bunting to third base, particularly for 1 out. So Molinaro is going to swing away, and hopefully he'll roll in the Forster card or get a defensive result. So Molinaro will swing away with runner at second, 1 out. 6-10, he gets on the Forster card. It is short X. It is Bill Russell. He's a 3E33 at short. Bill Russell. And Bill Russell makes an error, and the Angels got it going here. Now the Dodgers are really blowing it here. Bad defense. Runners on the corners, 1 out. You got Downing, Baylor. Doesn't really matter lefty-righty for Downing and Baylor. Then you got Tim Johnson, who can't hit righty. So Forster's going to have to deal with this mess. Tie run at third. Molinaro has speed, so you're holding him. You could play back and hold him and still get a double play. That's what they're going to do. They're going to play back and hold, hoping for a double play out of Brian Downing in a 4-3 game in the top of the 7th. Here's the pitch to Brian Downing. 1-9, it's all academic. He gets a clean single off his own card. That's what happens when you hit 326. And it's the center field, -1 arm. Molinaro, who reached by an error, is a 15 runner. It's 14 to go coast to coast. and put the lead run at third, and he's going to try it. And he makes it on a 9. So that is, you need a 14 or better. It's exactly what the chance was for Bob Molinaro here. A 15 base runner going from first to third off a -1 arm center fielder. He ends up at third base. Downing knocks in Lansford. We got runners on the corners. Don Baylor is the batter in a tie 4-4 game. We're going to play it back again, I guess, for a double play here. The pitch to Don Baylor. 39 is a ground ball short B. He legs it out. That's not a double play. It's a fielder's choice, and Molinaro will score. And the Angels take a 5-4 lead. Baylor's now on at first on the fielder's choice. He's going to try and steal. And he steals second base. And what's the T rating? As the Angels are running wild here in the 7th, T1 of 15, he goes to third. So Baylor's on third base now. He steals second. Every aggressive move you can make in this inning, they've taken. A hit and run. Lansford ends up getting a stolen base out of it. Going from first to third, bringing the infield up. Didn't work. So that's an error. So Baylor's now at third with 2 outs. Tim Johnson is the batter. He can't really hit lefties. Do you dare steal the plate with an ace stealer? I don't even know what the result is, and no, I don't want to do it because it means Johnson will have to lead off the next inning. So here is Tim Johnson against Forster. 46, he gets it off of Forster's card, who messed the whole inning up. It's a base hit to center field. So Johnson gets on off of Forster. Molinaro gets on off of the defense, and he advances the runner on a missed hit and run. It's been a textbook inning by the Angels, and they take a 2-run lead. Johnson's at first with 2 outs, and it's Bill Sample. 2-2 is hit by the pitch. 2 on, 2 outs, and it's Dan Ford. And what do you do as Forster has destroyed any chance the Dodgers had of winning Game 6 here by surrendering 4 runs in the top of the 7th? Unbelievable. Dan Ford, he's definitely better against lefties. And Forster has blown this thing. And the Dodgers have another lefty later if needed in Hal. So Forster will leave. He got 1 batter out. Bobby Castillo will come on in the 7th to face Dan Ford with 2 on and 2 outs. And he will face Dan Ford as the Angels bat around. The pitch to Dan Ford. 1-6 is a K. The Angels bat around. They get a homer by Pocoroba, an out, a single by Lansford. Oh my God, what a debacle. A botched hit and run leads to a stolen base. A botched ground ball. A runner goes first to third. They don't bring the infield up, and Baylor beats out a double play ball. Another stolen base. My goodness. Ball gets thrown into center field. Everything you can imagine. And now the Angels, who started this game so misfortunately early on against Umbarger, turn it around in the 7th. They're 9 outs away from winning the World Series. I don't think we're done in this one yet, folks. Stretch time. We have been enjoying listening to. We've been listening to Steely Dan a lot when the Dodgers play, and now we have the best of Walter and Donald. Nice little compilation of some demo stuff those guys did back in the day. Good stuff by Donald and Walter. R.I.P. Miss Walter Becker. Sorry about that. Bottom of the 7th. Dyer Miller will continue with a 2-run lead. Puts 2 guys on, will hook him. No defense to bring in. Actually, only 1 player's left on the bench, John Harris. And it'll be Dusty Baker. 3-6 is a grounder to short. Bill Russell. 49 is a walk. And your tie run, oh boy, is Willie Horton, who only hit 29 home runs. Miller doesn't have homers on his card against righties either. So he will pitch to Willie Horton. 1-6 misses the homer with a K. And with 2 outs, it's Alex Trevino. This is where it gets tricky. If you pinch hit Scioscia, they'll go get Lance Ralston, and then you're screwed. So Trevino will bat here with a runner at first and 2 outs against a righty. The pitch to Alex Trevino. 59 off of Miller is a K. Dyer Miller, an inning and 2/3. A nice work there. We'll go to the 8th. Bobby Castillo will continue. Dan Ford was the final out. So we'll go right back to Mr. Pocoroba, who started the 7th inning off with a solo homer. Pitch to Biff. 3-6, you're kidding me! Same thing! Homer, 1-13. He misses it, gets the double. Patek, A bunter. A bunter, I don't mind bunting the 3rd. I'll do it. I'm going to bunt the A bunter. It's good. A 5. So Pocoroba's at 3rd as a DH. So what's his running? Poor, I'm assuming. 9. Well, running for him. I'm not going to run for him. The pinch runner's a 1-10 runner. I don't feel like using a pitcher to run for him. So, anyway, they get the runner at 3rd with 1 out. They're going to bring the infield up for Carney Lansford. 4-10, it doesn't matter, off the Castillo card. Homer, 1-9 double. Lansford doesn't have power. It is a single. It is a 7-4 game. And here we go again, and the Dodgers are going to make another pitching change. It doesn't seem to matter. Everything they do blows up in their face. So Castillo pitches exactly 1 inning. We've gone 7 1/3. Or 7 2/3, no, 7 1/3. Actually, he only got 1 out in that inning, right? Yeah. Yeah, Forster got 1 out in the 7th inning. Excuse me, Sutcliffe got 1 out, Forster got 1 out, and Castillo got 1 out, which means Castillo's only gotten 2/3 of an inning. What a mess. What a debacle. So Steve Howe comes on in now in the 8th to face this lefty Molinaro again, who's been a real pain. Particularly when you know what he's going to do. He's going to do the same thing. He's going to do a hit and run here. With 1 out and a man at first, Lansford. Here's the hit and run. Runner has to steal again. Runner rolls a 5 again. And it's Groundhog Day in LA. And now you've got a runner at 2nd with 1 out, and Molinaro will swing. Now, this is where he gets an error on one of the Dodger fielders. The pitch to Molinaro. 1-5 rolls on his card, rolls to 1st. So, it'll move Lansford all the way up to 3rd base, and it'll be Brian Downing with 2 outs. 2-7 is a fly to center. So, it stays a 7-4 game. We're in the 8th inning, and they'll turn this thing over to Jim Barr for an inning. If he gets into trouble, they'll go Ralston, and then they'll go to Mark Clear, of course, is the closer. So they'll start with Jim Barr in the 8th, as Dyer Miller's day is done. Dyer Miller did a great job in relief. Dyer Miller would be the pitcher of record, so you don't want to botch his great day. Jim Barr comes on in the 8th, face the top of the lineup here for the Dodgers. Davey Lopes. 1-7 is a walk. Now you got Reggie Smith. 45 off of Barr, left C. Lopes is not going to steal down 3 runs. He's stuck at first base. And here's Garvey, who hits into a lot of double plays. I say before I swing away. The pitch to Steve Garvey. 43 off Barr, first X. This is a 4-25 though. Doesn't matter which one. It's Baylor currently. On the bench, you'd have John Harris, who's also a 4-25. 4-25. Dodgers need a base runner, and they certainly don't need a double play. The 4 first baseman gives up a double down the line. A mistake late in the game. Got to protect the line, and he didn't. You got 2nd and 3rd with 1 out in a 7-4 game, and you got Ron Say as the tie run. Oh my goodness, folks. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. The pitch to Ron Say. 4-4 off of Barr is catcher's card. Catcher Downing is a 3-E1. They're looking for at least a pass ball here. And they get the pass ball, which helps. Gets a run on the board. Unearned run scores. Runner goes to 3rd in a 7-5 game. And Kirk Gibson is the batter now as the tie run. Let's look at the homer chances for Barr. Barr is actually very good avoiding homers versus lefties. And Gibson hits lefty homers off of left-handed pitchers anyway. So Ralston is not any better, the lefty setup guy. Let's just double check Ralston. No, Ralston gives up more homers, 1 to 11 on his own card, and Gibson his homers on 1-5 and 1-6. So Barr is still the answer. He's good against lefties, which is why he's in here. Kirk Gibson, it's a runner on third with 2 outs. The pitch to Kirk Gibson. 1-6. It's not going to be a homer. Would have been a homer against a lefty. 1-6. It's triple 1 to 12. Single the rest. Doesn't get the triple. Gets a single. Scores the run. It's a 7-6 game. Now you got an ace stealer at first. Down a run with Dusty Baker at the plate. Bill Russell on deck. Do you steal to get in scoring position off a +1 arm catcher? With Bill Russell and Horton up next. Jim Barr's just not that great against righties, and Dusty Baker really is good against righties. Has a lot of power. I'm going to go for the 2-run homer in the lead here, or a double. He has a lot of extra base hits, so I'm going to leave Gibson at first. The plus is in play. We're going to pitch to Dusty Baker. We're not going to attempt a stolen base. Things have been going haywire with the stealing and hitting and running and all that, so they're not going to even try. Maybe if I was the Angels, I'd do it, but the Dodgers aren't going to do it. So Dusty Baker will swing away with a runner at first and 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th of a 7-6 game. Here's the pitch to Dusty Baker. 57 off of Barr is a clean single to center field. Gibson, a 19 runner. It's 18 to go to third. I know it's counterproductive to get the third out of third base, but he's got a 90% chance, and he's going to do it and take it. So he's at third, and Bill Russell will be the batter with runners on the corners, and that'll be it for Barr. Barr just kind of flamed this inning out as well, just going 2/3 of an inning. You got runners at the corners. Barr's bad against righties. Miller's gone. You do have 1 base open, so I could see the Mark Clear being brought in now for a 4-out save. But if you bring in Clear, the Dodgers could flip to all the lefties and get walk-walk to tie the game. Landis, Norris, and Scioscia. Or dare you just leave Barr in there? I kind of announced I was... Now I'm going to go Clear. Mark Clear's coming in. Mark Clear is coming in. He is their closer. That's what closers are for. Win, lose, or draw. He's coming on in the 8th inning, trying to get 4 outs and win Game 6. No big deal. They lose this. They got him in Game 7. So, playing with house money. Can Mark Clear get the final out here and 3 more in the 9th? 7-6 game. Mark Clear against Bill Russell. Now, the Dodgers have to think that a lefty would make more sense with 2 outs. So it's either Scioscia or Norris. Norris is the highest average. We're going to go Jim Norris, batting for Russell. Or, yeah, we'll go Jim Norris. Let's take a look at the Jim Norris card. 1970-80 at 283 for the Indians. Got to the Dodgers because of the ability to back up center field, right field, and first base as a utility player. So it won't be Bill Russell. It'll be Jim Norris, the lefty, against Clear. Runners on the corners, 2 outs in a 7-6 game, looking for a hit or a walk. A hit ties it, a walk loads the bases. The pitch to Jim Norris. 63 off of Clear is first X, and it's a 4E25. This could be a a double ... or single ... won't score the runner from first. We know that. But first base is a 4E25, and once we'll look right here. It should be most of the time you're going to get on base and tie this thing. Let's see if the Angels can get a miracle here on a 4E25 first baseman. Here's the play. They get a ground ball. See, the Angels get the miracle. Don Baylor at first base. He gets a glove on the ball, knocks it down, picks it up, and speeds over and touches the bag. So the bumble-handed first baseman, 4E25, brought in for the injured Ron Jackson, makes the play. No bigger play in this wild and crazy Game 6 than that one, folks. My goodness. Jim Norris cannot believe he ran to the bag and Baylor so quick at first. Baylor beat him to the bag. Cannot believe it. The Dodgers do not tie the game on that play. Landestoy will come in and play shortstop for Horton in the following inning. Okay. It's day 7-6 in the ninth. You got Baylor and Johnson, so Hal will stick around. Don Baylor. 111, grounds the third. Tim Johnson, 1-2, flies to center field. With 2 outs, it is Bill Sample. Bill Sample, 53, right X. This is Jim Norris, the new right fielder, 3E5. He makes the catch. So the new pinch hitter played in the outfield and made a nice grab. We go to the bottom of the ninth of a 7-6 game. The Angels are trying to win the World Series. Dodgers trying to force the game 7. Mark Clear needs 3 outs. There's no more substitutions to be made. The Dodgers are either going to win, lose, or tie this off of Clear in the ninth. They're not even going to go to Ralston. It's going to be Landestoy, Trevino, Lopes, and Smith. And Scioscia is still on the bench, but they're not going to bring him in. The minute you bring in Scioscia, they go to Ralston. So here is Rafael Landestoy leading off in the bottom of the ninth. 112 is a walk on the Landestoy card. Now you got Trevino, the right-hander. Oh, you know what, folks? I got a little trick up my sleeve. If Bob Molinaro can do it, so can Mike Scioscia. So, Mike Scioscia, let's take a look at Scioscia now. He will pinch hit for the catcher, Alex Trevino. So he's a left-handed hitting catcher. Clear is clearly worse against lefties than righties. So if you pull Clear and go Ralston and empty your bullpen, then you got Ralston against Lopes, Smith, and Garvey. So you may as well just go Clear here. And the reason I say that is Scioscia would hit and run with Landestoy if you brought Ralston in, just to move the runner into scoring position to tie the game. So it's a win situation for the Dodgers in this case, and honestly, I'd rather have Mark Clear facing the top of the Dodger lineup, as 3 of the 4 guys are right-handed. So that's the deal with the closer. Scioscia. Now Scioscia can still hit and run here if he wants against the righty, or just simply hit away. Let's look at the double play chances. Bunting chances. I think I'm hitting away. I'm hitting away. I'm not going to hit and run. Like I said, the Dodgers have been crazy. I mean, the Angels are doing it like crazy, but the Dodgers are not going to hit and run because they didn't bring in Ralston. And that's because, yeah, they prefer to go to Clear. All right, so Scioscia will hit away. So they're looking for a double play ball with Landestoy at first. Scioscia's looking for a plus on his card. The pitch to Mike Scioscia. 37, single 1-10. He rolls an 8 and gets the single. Now you've got runners at first and second with nobody out, and Davey Lopes is an A bunter against hard-throwing Mark Clear. This has got to be a bunt, folks, right? You have to. I know Davey Lopes had 28 home runs. He's an A bunter, though, and Mark Clear, you get a strikeout, nobody moves up. And it's 2-10 a bunt. So, yeah, I am going to bunt a fast runner, Landestoy the third, a slow runner behind him, but Lopes will bunt to get runners in scoring position in a 7-6 game. Here's the bunt. It is a 3 bunt, and no, before you ask, that is not a single for an A. He's too good a bunter. You need a 4. I got the chart down here somewhere. Where is the chart for bunting? Just to confirm. Yeah. So A bunters, B bunter. This is the column for the A bunter. 2 and 4 is a single. The column for a B bunter, 2 and 3 is a single. He's not a B bunter, he's an A bunter. He's better than that. So a 4 is, of course, better chance than a 3. So he doesn't get the single, but it's a fantastic bunt and almost a single. Second and third, Reggie Smith, switch hitter, walks a lot anyway. If you're Clear, you're thinking you may as well walk him just by pitching to him. As Clear doesn't give up extra base hits on this card against lefties anyway, it's a single or a walk chance. Reggie Smith wants to hit a homer on his own card if he can here. Second and third, 1 out. Infield is, of course, up for Reggie Smith. They're not going to go Ralston, not with Garvey and Say on deck and no other pitchers available. So Reggie Smith will bat off of closer Mark Clear with second and third and 1 out. Here is the pitch. 63, same thing. First X. Where have we seen this before? First X. This is Don Baylor again, a 4-25 first baseman off the clear card. You plug in the 3, you plug in the 4 defense, and you can win this game right here with a single ... or double ... or even a 2-base error. It's an error. They're going to stop it right there. Plug the error in, which is probably should have happened, as a 4-25 is awful. But this goes back to the early injury to Ron Jackson in this marathon. So that does score Landistoi. The good news is that you've got the slow-footed Scioscia at third base, so you can't really score him on the sac fly. And he's got to be at third. You can't pinch run for him. Reggie Smith's at first. They're going to bring the infield up. The good news for Clear is 2 right-handed batters. So you have a great chance to strike these 2 guys out and go to extra innings in a 7-7 game. Runners on the corner. Steve Garvey wants to send the Dodgers now to a Game 7 by putting a ball in play. The pitch to Steve Garvey. 48 is a strikeout. That's Clear. That's what he does. Mark Clear gets the strikeout. And Clear does that kind of thing. He was 105 strikeouts in 106 innings. Exactly what the doctor needed. And it's all up to Ron Say, or we got extras. And now we're looking at Hal, Bruno, and Hartzell and Ralston if we go extras. Runners on the corners. Actually, Reggie Smith just runs the second base. He's not being held. The infield goes back. It's second and third. Doesn't really matter. Actually, you could walk Ron Say and pitch to Gibson. That doesn't even make any sense. So I'll pitch to Ron Say with second and third and 2 outs. A walk won't hurt. A hit will. The pitch to Ron Say. 49 is short X. This is Patek. A 2E40. Error loses this thing. He's a 2. E40. Here we go. Look for the result. It's a GBA. We got extras. Oh my goodness, folks. It is 7-7. Extra innings. Steve Howe is a relief 2. He's going to inning in 2/3. We'll let him go the 10th, and then we'll bring in Bruno. Everybody is in for everywhere. Landistoi is playing. Let's get the defense straight for the Dodgers, so we know we're straight here. Norris is in right field. Reggie Smith is a DH. Landistoi is at short. Scioscia is now catching. Everybody else is where they are. The only player on the bench for the Angels is John Harris, who's a first baseman, and Don Baylor's playing first, with Pocarova still in this game as a DH, by the way, who has a homer and a double in his last 2 at-bats. And Steve Howe will continue in the 10th. Leading off is Dan Ford. 58 off of Howe is a single for the C Steeler. Now it's Biff Pocarova. 43. First X. This is Garvey, the 1E7. He's a 1. And that's a double play ball. And with 2 outs, it's Patek. Doesn't have power against lefties. Has 2 homers. They're both against righties. But he hits better against lefties. The pitch to Fred Patek. Made that great defensive play at the end of the 9th. Pitch to Patek. 64 off of Hal. Third X. Ron Say's a 2E11. And he makes the play. That will end Steve Howe's day, as already leads off the next inning anyway. So he went 2 1/3, I believe. It should add up to 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at that. 9/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9/3 is 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my goodness, that is 10 innings in the books for the Dodger pitchers. Mark Clear is going to inning in a 1/3. He's a relief 3. He's not going anywhere. You got to go with him, even though you have Gibson, a lefty, leading off in this inning. Gibson, Baker, Norris, Landistoi. We'll pitch through to Gibson and Baker. I don't know about... I might go Ralston to the lefties, Norris, Landistoi, and Scioscia, since they got nobody left on their bench. but I'm going to stick with clear. He got out of that 9th, and his defense let him down. 7-7 tie, bottom of the 10th. World Series Classic. Angels still have a chance to win the World Series tonight. Here is Kirk Gibson. 55 off of clear is a walk. That's what we were afraid of that. We were afraid of that. Baker is going to hit away. We don't want to run ourselves out of this inning when we still have Baker's better against righties, and when you want to swing away against clear. So, and you're looking at a strikeout, not a double play if he fails. So Baker will bat with Gibson at first. And here's the pitch. 65 off of clear. Big play. It's double 1 to 13. Fly ball the rest. He rolls an 11, folks. This ball's in play. Double 1 to 13. It's the center field. Gibson. Do you run him with nobody out? It's a 1 to 16 chance. You got to take it. You got to do it. I know you should hold up and because you got a higher chance of just walking this thing off. But what if clear strikes out the side? It's 1 to 16 to force a game 7. I'm going to take it now because I'll still have Baker at second. Here it is. We're going to run Gibson all the way from first on a double. We need a 1 to 16 here to force a game 7. A 16! Slides in at the plate. What a play at the plate. Gibson gets in there. Can you imagine this? Gibson, a 17 runner. Dan Ford, a -1 arm. You don't get the bonus because it's not 2 out, so it is exactly 16. And a 16 is rolled. It's a close play at the plate. The Dodgers have won Game 6, 8-7. Don't know what to make of this thing, folks. This thing had so many twists and turns in it. Angels, Dodgers, Angels, Dodgers, and then the Dodgers did not finish the task in the 9th. They get it done in the 10th. That's the ball game. 8-7, Dodgers win Game 7 in LA. Frank Tanana and Don Sutton, they're going to have to pitch to the 7th and 8th inning to give the bullpens a break. Wow. I'll have the box score at the beginning of Game 7. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1978-81 Fall League. It is Game 7 of the World Series, live from Dodger Stadium in LA, California. It's the California Angels versus the LA Dodgers. This game brought to you by Aqua Velva, the cool, refreshing aftershave. Yes, there's something about an Aqua Velva, man. And by B.F. Goodrich, tires you can trust. We're the other guys. Welcome to Game 7. So we've got a Game 7 in the Fall League World Series for 2 out of the last 3 years. We had a Game 7 in the Summer League World Series between Cincinnati and Oakland. This World Series has just been bonkers with weirdness. There's been some routes in this series, and I got the box score from Game 6 that was just played. Some weird performances in this thing. Dodgers used 5 of their 8 pitchers to get the job done. 10-inning affair. Angels had 7 runs on 14 hits and 4 walks. Dodgers 8 and 11 and 4 walks. Dodgers had 4 solo homers early. Then they scored runs in the 8th, 9th, and extra innings. There were gifts given around all over the place. There was guys thrown out on the bases. Guys caught stealing, catchers throwing the ball into center field, guys missing hit and runs, and guys stealing bases because of it. Left-handed batters with no hits on their card getting hits off the pitcher's card. It is a debacle here. Baumgart went 5 1/3, 6 hits and 4 runs. They were all solo homers. Didn't walk anybody. Everything went over the fence when he threw it. Dyer Miller was the pitching star, inning and 2/3, just a walk and 2 Ks. Jim Barr became the downfall in the 8th. He was good. He's been up and down, really, the whole postseason. Gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, and a walk. And unfortunately, actually, Clear did come in to end the threat in the 8th. But in the 9th, gave up the tie run because of bad defense. It could have been worse. at least he forced extra innings, but in extra innings gave up a double off of Mark Clear's card, scoring Kirk Gibson. Jim Umbarger for the Dodgers went 4 2/3, couldn't qualify for a win. Wouldn't matter, they didn't hold the lead. 7 hits, 2 runs, only 1 was earned because of all the errors. 3 walks. Then Sutcliffe came in for inning and 2/3. He still gave up 2 hits and 2 runs, including a homer to the slugging Biff Pocoroba. Forster came in with a big can of kerosene to face some lefties. Got only 1 of 4 out. Bobby Castillo got 2 outs, gave up 2 hits and a run. It was Steve Howe who came to the rescue in the 8th inning, getting the last 2 batters out. And then in the 9th and 10th innings, the Angels had nothing left. And that's why they won. That's why the Dodgers won Game 6, 8-7. And this has truly been an up and down series, literally back and forth. Angels winning the odd games, 1, 3, and 5. Dodgers winning the even ones, 2, 4, and 6. And we have a Game 7 that portends well for the visiting Angels. Now, for Game 7, your starting pitchers. For the 3rd time, they've split. Frank Tanana got the best of Sutton in Game 1. Sutton got the best of Tanana in Game 4. They're at it again for the 3rd time. Frank Tanana, 18-12, 3.66 ERA in 1978. Don Sutton, he is 13-5 with a 2.21 ERA and 212 innings in 1980. Reinforcements, we can have Bert Hooton come out of the bullpen for the Dodgers. We can have Nolan Ryan come out of the bullpen for the Angels. Steve Howe's limited to an inning. Otherwise, all of California pitchers are available, including Paul Hartzell. So there's only 1 restriction on Howe because he went 2 1/3. And that's about it. And let's get started in a Game 7. I have no clue what's going to happen, but Game 6 was very taxing here. So hopefully we can at least have some classic baseball without fluky craziness. Leading off, Carney Lansford. 2-5, grounds a short. Molinaro, 2-8, is a base hit for the ace stealer. And he's going to be aggressive and try and steal. And he's going to be successful. Bob Molinaro having a heck of a World Series for a guy you may not know of as a platoon player, had 1 good year in 1980. That's how it happens in the World Series sometimes. Runner at second for Brian Downing. You know him. 58, second X. Lopes up and down in the field defensively is a 3.15, which isn't that bad. And he makes the play. Runner goes to third with 2 outs. Bobby Grich was red hot early in the series, kind of tapered off since. 55 is a strikeout. Sutton gets out of the first. And the Angels, frankly, this is the first time they haven't scored in the first inning in a long time. In Anaheim, they were scoring 4 or 6 runs in the first inning. Bottom of 1, Tanana against Davey Lopes. 57 is a strikeout. Reggie Smith, 2-7 is a double to left field. Now it's Steve Garvey. 1-5, Garvey is red hot. He is a series MVP candidate. Let's look at his card from 79. 28 home runs and a 3.15 batting average and a Gold Glove. Did make an error in Game 6, which is bizarre. Also hit a home run in Game 6 and in Game 5 and now in Game 7. It is a 2-run homer. And right now, Garvey's on the short list of series MVP along with Grich and Baylor. And perhaps, I don't know who else in the Dodgers would be an MVP. Oh, Ron Say's had some nice homers. Speaking of the devil, here's Ron Say. 66, short X. Now they're starting Patek today. They gave up on Tim Johnson. It wasn't really worth the struggle. They want the 2 shortstop in there defensively. It's been very useful thus far. So he's a 2E40 shortstop, but the E rating is E40. That's trouble, and that's an error. As soon as I tap Patek, he bundles the ball. So Say's at first for Kirk Gibson. 2-6, single dot. Runners on the corners, 2 outs for Dusty Baker. Better against righties and lefties. That's why he's down slightly in the lineup. 68 off Tanana, though, is a base hit in the center field. And the shoe is on the other foot, folks. The Dodgers grab an early lead for the first time in a long time in this series. Gibson, he could reprise what he did at the bottom end of Game 6, which is go run off of Dan Ford. It's a 16 to get to third base. He'll do it, and he'll make it. So he's on the corner. He's at third base off of the Ford arm, which is pretty good. It's a -1 arm. But he did the same thing in the 10th inning of Game 6, so he's going to keep doing it until he gets thrown out. Runners on the corners with the 1 out. They're going to bring it up for Bill Russell. He's an A bunter. But 68 is a single to center field off Tanana. Baker will not go coast to coast. He's not as fast as Gibson. But suddenly, it's 4-0, and it's just 1 out with runners at first and second for Willie Horton. 3-11 pops to second. And number 9 hitter, Alex Trevino. 6-10 off Tanana is catcher's card that won't score a run. There's nobody at third. And Dowling's a 3-1. Don't expect an error there. They don't. So, at least this is different, folks. This is different. It's the Dodgers with the early lead. Now it's their turn to choke this thing away to the Angels, if you believe in that sort of thing. Leading off in the second. And Don Sutton, he blew a lead in Game 1, I believe. So there's that. Don Baylor, 53, pitcher. Ron Jackson, 310, left. And Dan Ford, 32, lines the third. Bottom of 2, Davey Lopes. 3-11, grounds are short. We're going to have a long leash for Tanana. These bullpens are tired. I know he's given up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But he can settle down and get through the next couple innings, giving up just a hit or two, then he should be fine. That's what they're hoping for. Reggie Smith, 68, another single. They're hitting them off the Tanana card as well. B. Steeler, not going to steal, even though Garvey hits in a lot of double plays and they like to steal, but I'm not going to do it. They've been more tentatively stealing versus the aggressive Angels, and they're going to continue that play. Garvey's going to swing away. Probably will be a double play. 1-6! No, it is not, folks. You saw the card earlier. Homer, 1 of 13 this time, and it's Steve Garvey is making the statement of, I want to be the MVP of the World Series. He is homered now 4 times in the last 3 games. He might have 1 more than that. I'll have to check that out. It's been unbelievable, and suddenly, folks, it is 6-0. Ron Say, 56 flies to left, and with 2 outs, it's Gibson. 39's a single. Oh, he's going to steal with a 6-0 lead, and he's in there. Runner at second. Gibson's been aggressive, stealing bases and going first to third, and it's Dusty Baker. 67 is single on a 1. Line to second. Did this just happen? Tanana, the nightmare of Frank Tanana, continues. He's got single 1, line out the rest, and he hit the single 1. And with runners on the corners and 2 outs, do we do it, folks? I think we do it. We're hooking Tanana after 5/3 because we have Nolan Ryan, and it turns everything around. And Ryan has gotten really lucky, and if you're going to come back from a 6-run deficit, you don't want these 2 guys to score and make it an 8-run deficit. So Nolan Ryan is going to come on in on 3 days rest and pitch in the 2nd inning as Frank Tanana falls apart. By the way, if he puts 10 hits, he breaks anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has 9. So it's not that quick of a hook. So Ryan comes on in the 2nd inning. Runners in the corners. The right-handed batter, Bill Russell. Here's the pitch. 2-3 pops the second. Will that be the move for the California Angels? You're going to have to do it by getting runs off of Don Sutton. Here is Biff Pocoroba having a nice World Series. 2-8, another single for him. Fred Patek. 110 is a K. Carney Lansford. 410, center X. Now, Gibson's a 3E10 in center. And he makes a 2-base error. This is how it happens, folks. I'm telling you. Done too many of these. This is how it happens. 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. Just start making dumb plays when you got a 6-run lead. Here's Bob Molinaro. 2-6. He comes through again, folks. Did I show you the card yet? Let's show it to you. A 1980 Bob Molinaro card. And you're like, what's so great about this guy? Well, he had 380 plate appearances. He hit 291. He's an A stealer. He's a 15 runner. He's a 3 in the outfield. So yeah, he's an interesting player, and he just got his second hit of Game 7 of the World Series, and that will score 2 runs. Yes, it's double 1 and 2, single ... So 2 unearned runs off of Sutton. A stealer. Dare you steal down 4? Now we're getting silly here because Brian Downing walks a lot anyway, so we're not going to do it. Brian Downing. 59, short X. Bill Russell, 3E33. Need good defense at short to win a World Series. Good enough in this case. Got the out. 3 outs. Oh, no, that's only, I'm sorry. That is a, yeah, that's a 6-4-3 double play. My bad. 6-4-3 double play. There's 1 out. Yeah, 6. The 3 shortstop gets a GBA, and so that defense is a big deal now. It's an inning double play for Brian Downing. In retrospect, stealing may have been the better option, but it's 6-2. Bottom of the 3rd. Willie Horton. 2-11. Rolls a short. Trevino. All against righties now. So they got a righty-heavy lineup with lefties on the bench against Ryan. 63 is pitcher X. Ryan's an E26. And it's an error. Trevino's at first for Davey Lopes. 46 is a K. And with 2 outs, Reggie Smith. 57 is that walk on the Ryan Carr we've been hitting lately. Didn't hit it early in the postseason, but recently in the postseason. You have 2 on, 2 outs. Steve Garvey. 412, no home run this time. A roller to second base. And it's 6-2, and now we got a ball game. The Angels are within a grand slam as we go to the 4th. Bobby Grich. Because we certainly haven't had much good pitching in this series at all. Grich, 67 off Sutton is a K. And Sutton should be the guy to deliver it, but he's done it once. He's got up 4 runs in a win and 5 or 6 runs in a loss. So figure that one out. Don Baylor, 1-3, rolls the 3rd. And with 2 outs, it's Ron Jackson, 43, right X. This is Reggie Smith. It's a 3E16 in right field. That's not very good. And it's a 2-base error. And with 2 outs, it's Disco Dan Ford. 67 is a K. Sutton buttons that up after his outfielders have dropped 2 fly balls in the last 2 innings. Bottom of the 4th, it's Ron Say. Against a righty this time, though. 1-9 is a walk. Gibson, 2 for 2. 56 is a K. Dusty Baker, 2-4. Let's take a look at the Dusty Baker card. Is this the blow that'll do in the Angels? It is a 2-run blast for Dusty Baker in 1980 at 29 homers. 29 is the magic number, folks. Horton had 29 homers. Reggie Smith had 29 homers. Or did he have 30? No, he had 29. Garvey had 28. Say had 28. Okay. But Dusty Baker, 2-4, 2-run homer. It is 8-2. Bill Russell, 47's a strikeout with 2 outs. Willie Horton, 39, is a base hit. I think we're going to have a pinch runner, folks. Yep. Willie Horton is going to come out. We don't need him anymore with a 6-run lead. Bring some defense in, too. Norris will pinch run as a B stealer and play right field. Reggie Smith goes to DH. And just like that, they have all their defense in with 5 frames and 6-run lead to go. And Sutton on the mound. Pinch runner Norris, B stealer. He will steal off of Mr. Downing. And he is gunned down on an 18. That didn't work. Okay. 5th inning. 8-2 game. It's Biff. Poca Roba. 6-11. Left X, this is Baker. Of all the outfielders, he's the good one. A 2E3, and he makes the catch. Fred Patek. 58 is second X. This is Lopes, a 3E15. He makes the play. Dodgers starting to get the leather going finally. And Carney Lansford. He was also hot. He's cooled off a little bit. As soon as I say that, he gets a base hit. And with 2 outs, the hope, the great white hope of the Angels, Bob Molinaro. 2 for 2, 2 RBI, and a stolen base. The pitch to Molinaro. 1-7. That is a base hit because you had to hold Lansford on. He rolled the plus. And he is 3 for 3, doing his best. And now you got Brian Downing. Big moment here in an 8-2 game. Give us a run at least. Or 2 or 3. The pitch to Brian Downing. 57 off Sutton. No, sir. That is a strikeout. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. First, let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Bottom of the 5th. Well, you know, we could actually go Sosha here, too. Oh, let's do it. He's a -1 arm. E6. Mike Sosha will come in to catch for Trevino. Better defensive catcher. Left-handed batter. Trevino. Excuse me, Sosha. 2-6. Pops to third. Davey Lopes. 46K. And with 2 outs, Reggie Smith. 34, center. So Ryan may regret that 2-run homer, as it's 8-2, and Sutton is in a groove now, going to the 6th. Bobby Grich. 1-7 is a K. Don Baylor, 6'11", left X. This is Dusty Baker, a 2 in left field, and he makes the catch. With 2 outs, Ron Jackson. 59, short X. And this is Russell, a 3 at short. E33. He makes the play. 333. So he has survived. Lopes and Russell aren't the greatest defensively, but they've been successful today. And that's what matters. So bottom of the 6th. Ryan will continue. It's Steve Garvey with the 2 home runs. 2-11. Pops to third. He is currently, he or Don Sutton, I guess, are your series MVP. Sutton would have won half of the games. It finishes this way. Ron Say, 46 is a K. And Kirk Gibson, 54. Short X. Patek, 2E40. And he makes an error there. You know Gibson's going to attempt to steal the big lead. And he's out. 2 cookies out of the cookie jar. Thrown out, stealing. We go to the 7th and have an 8-2 game. Sutton's breaking inning. Disco Dan Ford, 310. Flies to left. Pokaroba, 56, is a fly to right. And with 2 outs, the fans are on their feet. Sutton's pitching outstanding baseball when he needs to. Patek, 3-6, single 1-2-8, and he doesn't get the 8. And that's going to hurt the Angels. They cannot get a guy on in the 7th inning. Sutton pumps his fist, going to the deck, to the dugout for the stretch. 7-inning stretch. Dodgers got an 8-2 lead in the World Series with 6 outs to get. Angels are going to need a miracle. We are enjoying Steely Dan's 72 classic, the first one. Cannot Buy a Thrill, featuring Do It Again, Dirty Work, Reeling in the Years, and yeah, Turn That Heartbeat Over Again. Yeah. First one by the Dan. Bottom of the 7th. Ryan will pitch 1 more inning, maybe 2 more. It's Dusty Baker. 46K. You know, when you look at the momentum the Dodgers had, they scored in the 8th, 9th, and 10th innings and in the 1st and 2nd. And that knockout punch, the Angels have not been able to recover. They've only scored those 2 runs in those 10 innings since. And that's a shame to this point. Bill Russell, 54, third X. Lansford's a 3-24. That is a single on the 2. Jim Norris. He is a B hit runner. He's going to attempt a hit and run here. Haven't done that yet today. We'll move the runner up on a 4. So now Russell's in scoring position with 2 outs from Mike Sosha. 2-5 as a pop out. Commendable job by Ryan. Brought in early to stop the bleeding, as Tanana did fail in Game 7 horribly. 8th inning. Sutton's going back out there. And he might go for the CG in this. There's no reason not to. Carney Lansford. 1-7 is double 1 to 15. That's a 2-base hit. You need 3 base runners in the 8th to break Sutton. And here's our boy, 3 for 3, Bob Molinaro. 47, single, 1-6 off the Sutton card. Cannot get it, heartbreakingly, 1-19. That is a line out. And he's finally been retired today. Ryan Downing. He has really cooled off since the hot early part of the series in his brilliant league championship series against Baltimore. Brian Downing. 5'10", catcher's card. This is Sosha, a 2. It'll be a wild pitch, so the runner goes to third. No big deal there. With 2 outs, and it's Bobby Grich. 49 is a walk, and this is your last batter for Sutton. Don Baylor with 2 on and 2 outs in the 8th inning of an 8-2 game. Can he make this a World Series? For your 1979 American League Most Valuable Player, Don Baylor. Here is the pitch. 2-8. He cannot. He grounds too short, unfortunately. Sutton will stay in the dugout with 8 innings in the books. 8th inning at the bottom. Lopes, Smith, Garvey say, I have no real reason to take Ryan out. He's done so well. If he gets knocked around, I guess I would take him out. So we'll let Ryan continue. Davey Lopes. And you can see probably, does things change a lot if Ryan starts this game? Probably not. Garvey rolled homer in his card. Garvey rolled homer in his card. That's the ball game. Davey Lopes. 58's a K. Reggie Smith. 1-5 is a K. And with 2 outs, Garvey looking for homer number 3 gets a walk. And Ronsay. 2-4. Flies to center field. A commendable job for Nolan Ryan, just giving up 2 runs in, gosh, what is it? It's 6 1/3. Going into the 9th inning, which guy gets the dubious task of closing this out? I'm going to start this with Forster. He was so awful in Game 6. I'm going to give the Angels a chance of coming back in the 9th. We know Steve Howe only has an inning left in him, and I don't want to overwork him, I guess. So I'm going to go Terry Forster in the 9th with a 6-run lead to see if he can give the Dodgers a World Series title. Terry Forster. Big moment for him. Was he on the 81 Dodgers? He may have been. I'm not sure. But basically, yeah, the 81 Dodgers won the World Series, and this is the 78-81 season. They don't have Fernando. But, and again, that's at the end of the timeline anyway. So most of the guys are 78 and 79, 80. Enough. Here's the 9th inning. We'll show you all the cards. Ron Jackson will lead it off. Ron Jackson at 297 and 78 for the Angels. He also has a very good 82 card, I believe, where he hits like 330. So he'll be with the Angels moving forward. The pitch to Ron Jackson, 58, is a strikeout. Now you have Disco Dan Ford. Take a look at him. 79 card, 21 home runs, hit 290. And he is a 2 in center field where he plays. Such a great advantage because I don't recall him playing center field. I recall him being a corner outfielder. But they're maxing out his defense in center field as a 2. So here's the pitch to Dan Ford. 59 off of Forster is a bouncer to short. This is Russell. A 333 at short. And he makes the play. And give the Dodgers some credit today. Their infield has not blown anything. So a weak fielding defensive infield will win a World Series to break that streak. And with 2 down, in the 9th inning, we have our boy Biff. Biff Pocoroba's having himself a fun time in the World Series. Win, lose, or draw. He's got a couple homers on 3-6 and a double with that roll. Dark Horse World Series MVP candidate. The pitch to Biff Pocoroba. 1-9. Biff hits a ground ball to third base. Ronsay gloves it. He throws over to World Series MVP Steve Garvey. That is the ball game. The LA Dodgers have won the Fall League World Series 8-2 in Game 7, when in the last 2 games at home, when they were down 3-2, the crush, the heartbreak of the California Angels, who really got screwed in Game 6, losing 2 of their star players to injury early, somehow took a lead in the 7th, and then it went away in the 8th, 9th, and 10th innings, and they had no answer in Game 7. So now they gets lit up. It's all over. It is 8-2. Dodgers celebrate in their home park. Steve Garvey will be your World Series MVP. Don Sutton wins 2 of his 3 starts, but this is the only start where he pitched better than his ERA. He gave up 4 or more runs in his other 2 starts, so that's why I'm giving the MVP to Garvey. That's it tonight. We're going to have a recap video with a composite box later. Thanks for checking this out, folks. We'll see you next time.